They told her the pizza was safe. She counted the carbs. She bolushed the insulin. She watched the line on her phone turn green. Perfect. In range. Everything by the book, you see. We've all seen what happened next, haven't we? The graph told a different story. 3 hours later, a spike appeared. It wasn't because she did anything wrong. No, it was because the standard carb counting model didn't account for something critical. Now, why does a spike happen, even when you follow the guidelines perfectly? That's the case we're opening today, my friends. First, a quick reminder. This is for educational purposes only and is not medical advice. Always consult your healthcare team before making any changes to your management plan. The official advice we receive is sound. Count your carbs, monitor your intake, achieve control. These are the foundations of type 1 diabetes management. They work. They are the baseline. But the baseline works best in a perfect world. In the real world, you see, variables like fat, protein, and timing. They extend beyond what those baseline guidelines were designed to address. Here is the actual mechanism at play. Fat and protein don't raise your blood sugar immediately. Instead, they slow down your digestion. They delay the entire process of absorbing glucose. Standard insulin curves are designed for carbs alone. They simply cannot predict that delay. Think about the timing. You bolus for the carbs. That insulin peaks in about 90 minutes. But with high-fat foods, the carbs might not hit your bloodstream for 4 or even 5 hours. Your insulin works on schedule, but the glucose arrives late. This timing mismatch creates the spike. Scientists have documented this for years. A landmark 2015 study in diabetes care found that high-fat, high-protein meals create measurable delays in sugar absorption. We call it the pizza effect. The research is clear. High-fat meals require different insulin timing than the standard protocol assumes. The guidelines are right, but they are often incomplete for the meals we actually eat. Take sushi as another example. The sticky rice isn't just a carbohydrate, it's soaked in vinegar and sugar. This makes the glycemic index much higher than plain rice. While the fat in the fish slows digestion down, the vinegar and sugar speed it up. A standard insulin curve cannot adapt to these competing variables. Then there is the grilled chicken salad trap. By the book, you count the croutons and the greens, but the dressing, the marinade, and the spice rubs all contain ghost carbs. These small amounts accumulate. They aren't the primary target of the guidelines, but in the real world, they matter. Here is the real insight. Medical guidelines assume carb counting is reliable. And it is, for what it measures. But studies show that accuracy has its limits. Only 25% of teenagers can estimate carbs within 10 grams of accuracy. For adults, it's about 60%. That means 4 out of 10 adults are still guessing outside their accuracy range. When meals get complex, that accuracy drops further. This isn't a patient failure. It's a gap between a simple model and a complex meal. For someone with type 1 diabetes, a spontaneous bite is a negotiation. There is also a social cost. Others see a type 1 diabetes patient eating dessert and assume they are breaking the rules. They don't see the data. They don't understand that with the right dosing, someone with type 1 diabetes can eat almost anything. Then there is the safety protocol. When you are low, you must consume 15 to 20 grams of sugar. This is medically sound. But if this happens a few times a week, it adds up. Over a year, that represents a massive metabolic load. Unplanned energy that your body is forced to manage. The guidelines acknowledge this necessity, but they don't always account for how it affects long-term energy balance and weight goals. There's also the psychological layer. Continuous glucose monitors are amazing tools, but they bring a mental weight. You see the line drift and feel guilt. You see a rise and you might stop eating to fix it. But then the insulin you already took keeps working, and you crash. When you go low, your body's survival instinct takes over. You eat faster and more than you planned. This creates a cycle of highs and lows that the guidelines alone can't manage. This isn't just biology. It's a human response to constant data. The real burden isn't just the disease. It is the constant micro-calculations and the gap between what the guidelines promise and what daily life delivers. When the system sees a spike, it often blames non-compliance. In reality, you are just managing more variables than the model accounts for. So, what does optimization look like? It doesn't mean rejecting the guidelines. It means building data layers on top of them. Layer 1 is triple macro dosing. Don't just count carbs, look at fat and protein data. Layer 2 is advanced timing. Clinical strategies like the Warsaw method or dual-wave bolusing help you split your insulin dose to match slow-digesting meals. And layer 3 is creating spontaneity protocols, strategies that allow for the unplanned bite without feeling like you failed the system. Treat the guidelines as the foundation, not the ceiling. When you understand the variables, the fat, the protein, and the timing, the spikes become predictable. This isn't rejecting the guidelines. It is completing them. This is a medical investigation, not medical advice. Consult your endocrine team. Next case.